Hello everyone and welcome to my highly anticipated Module 6 Warlock Advice Build Guide. Please remember that this is only my preference and not the one build to rule them all. Please note that this module I am a human and not a dragonborn like I was last module. I chose human because of the 3 extra heroic feature points you obtain from the human class, which I will explain later. First off, the main gear stat priorities in order this module for the Warlock will be HP on your gear, power, critical, recovery, and armor pin. I do realize that my gear does not reflect this, but after running the math, and after I refine my build more, it will work out the way I want it to. The reason why I'm telling you this now is because my gear right now does not reflect these stats, but after more tweaking, it will play off in my favor. The reason why I'm releasing this video now is because people have been asking me constantly to do a video and they want my viewpoint. So, the main hand artifact weapon is the weapon that you will want to use in Module 6. This is the Packed Blade of Elemental Fire, and you can obtain this once you reach level 67 and you get to the Spinward Uprise. You do 3 sets of 16 daily quests and you obtain the Packed Blade at level 70. And to get the offhand, once you get to level 70, it just gives you the offhand. So there's your 2-piece set bonus right there for any class that you play. Moving on. Ring and necklace priorities. Of course you want to go for artifact ring and necklace. But if you cannot afford that, then I recommend picking up off the auction house, or if you have level 25 jewel crafting, the adamant necklace and rings of recovery. The ring of recovery gives you power and recovery and 1 slot when you buy it off the auction house, and then you can refine it at level 25 and get a 2nd slot. You can have an offense and defense slot. For the necklace, you also have more power and recovery. So you can get that off the auction house as well, and then you can refine it in jewel crafting at level 25 and get another slot. But if you already have the AD capabilities, I recommend picking up the Lost Mouth's Horde necklace, and to go with that is the golden belt of a French word right here, and then to go with that is the Lost Mouth Blasting Horn. And that gives you the 3-piece set bonus, and that is the priority set bonus you want to go for, because of the 3-piece, which you do an additional hit of weapon damage when you do a critical hit, and that weapon damage can be buffed, and it also does more damage because of a critical hit, and the secondary gets overbuffed, and you will be pleased with the set bonus. Plus, it gives you power, armor, penetration, and control bonus, and the control bonus is actually beneficial to the Warlock this module, because hey, the Warlock actually picked up some control powers. Moving on. The artifact priorities for the Warlock are Sigil of Devoted, because of the power, defense, and incoming healing. Sigil of the Great Weapon Fighter, because of maximum hit points, power, and armor penetration. And the other artifacts will be Wheel of Elements. I am on the public test realm right now, so I cannot show you what the Wheel of Elements is, but that is the next priority, because that has hit points and power on it. And then there's a third affix as well, which is really good. I believe it's stamina regeneration. And the Lost Mouth Blasting Horn, which I just explained. You can substitute out, if you cannot afford all of these at once, Waters of Elzahad, because of the recovery and defense. And recovery is once again, very beneficial to you. The Paladin Sigil, which is right here, and this is very beneficial to your class because it gives you 4,000 hit points, excuse me, and 1,000 power, and then the AoE exists. Once again, these are not for end game builds; these are for substitutions. So right away when you get it at level 1, it gives you hit points, so that's nice. And then the Hunter Sigil, and this can also be used as an in-game build artifact, because it has power, recovery, and stamina guard gain, which is very good for the build that I am going to explain here soon. And for the shirt and pants, I do not have the best shirt and pants yet, just because I haven't been able to obtain them. But you can go to the auction house on the live server and type in Gemmed Exquisite, and just look for the most expensive ones for your class, and you will find the ones that you want. The stats on this are rather poor compared to the new ones. It's about 200 less for the stats. And if you can, pick up ones with hit points, because that's what you're going to want to go for. You're going to want to hit high hit points with your Warlock. Now that I explained that, like I said in the very beginning, the gear, I told you the stat priorities, but if you are able to get PvP gear for your helmet and chest and boots, get the burning executioner pieces, and then for your bracers, go for the burning duelist wrist guards. Now I'm just going to go ahead and spec into everything so you can see it firsthand. For your increased ability scores, you're going to want to do straight Constitution and Charisma. Why are we doing this? Because Constitution gives you your health bonus and damage bonus, which is really unusual and cool for the Warlock. And Charisma gives you your combat advantage bonus and your critical chance bonus. Critical chance is really needed in this module, and if you cannot hit high critical with your stat, then you're going to want to hit as high Charisma as possible, because that gives you your critical chance. Now we go to features, and you put 3 points into 3% more critical chance, 3 points into 9% more hit points, put 3 points on the tier 2 section, 6%, which gives you counter damage, 1 point in reduced slip consumption, 3 points in soul reaping, which gives you 16.5 more lifesteal per character level, which is pretty high. 2 points in determined casting, 4% reduction on your cooldowns. 3 points into devastating critical, which gives you 15% more critical, and 5 points into blood pact of Kanya, which gives you 5% more damage on your constitution, which is pretty big. Now moving on, go into the temptation tree, put 5 points into the bottom, Hope Sealer, 5 points in the bottom of the next one, Vampiric Sparks, which gives you bonus lifesteal % when you have Soul Sparks. Then you put 5 points into one of the best temptation features, Dark Revelry. When you lifesteal, you have a chance to proc Dark Revelry, which gives you 20% run speed and power to you and people around you that are in your party. And what I've noticed is when I lifesteal, this goes off almost immediately. It has a 4-second uptime or 5-second uptime, and it seems like it procs 1 or 2 seconds after it goes down, so it's almost up permanently. Then move up to the Fury tree, put 5 points in Critical Promise, 5 points in Burning Soul, 5 points in Hell Touched, 5 points in Executioner's Gift, and then go to the top and put 5 points into Brutal Curse, and then you're going to want to get your Fury Capstone, which is Creeping Death. The first Fury feature, which is Critical Promise, after a critical hit, your next attack will deal 10% of your weapon damage. That's not the best, but the other feature, which curses a target when you slay an enemy, not really needed in PvE or PvP, because in both you're cursing people like crazy. The Burning Soul gives you bonus damage when you have Soul Sparks, so that's a very good feature to have. By the way, I am a Soulbinder Warlock and not a Hellbringer. The next one, which is the new set of the new tier of features, Hell Touched. When someone damages you, it's straight up you deal 10% more damage to them for the next 10 seconds. Very good feature to have. The other one only reduces the damage resistance by 5%. I mean, that is nice for team play, but for 1v1s, you're going to want to use Hell Touched. Next one is Executioner's Gift. Your at-will and encounter powers deal up to 15% more necrotic damage as the target's health diminishes. That's nice because it stacks with your Creeping Death Capstone feature when you hit someone that is cursed, with a Warlock's Curse, not a Lesser Curse. And then Brutal Curse, basically someone that is affected with Warlock's Curse or Tyrannical Curse, you get 10% more damage against them. So that's very good. And we're going to commit those changes, and that is the feature setup for the Soulbinder Fury Warlock. Now we get to the campaign boons, Sharandrar. Pretty much on all these boons, you go mostly offensive and not defensive like I did last module. So for Sharandrar, you go bottom for the extra power, bottom for the extra critical, top for the extra hit points, bottom for the 20% arcane damage, all the way to the top for Elven Resolve, 10% more stamina regeneration when in combat. Commit those changes. Dread Ring boons, you want to go, instead of power, go for critical, because power is easier to get on gear. So go bottom for critical, top for lifesteal, bottom for resistance ignored, bottom for Shadow Touch, which you can deal 20% necrotic damage over time, all the way to the top to Augmented Thane Bastion, because that can proc and negate some incoming damage at the beginning of fights. Some people are saying endless consumption, but that's not really needed this module, because when lifesteal does go off, it lifesteals for pretty much what endless consumption stole last module, but this module it's a little bit more. And then when we get to Icewind Dale, you go bottom for the combat advantage bonus, bottom for stamina guard gain, top for the recovery, bottom for gain power as you lose stamina, top for avalanche. I didn't choose Winter's Bounty because avalanche is actually more useful this module. Just trust me. We get to the Tyranny of Dragons, you go top for hit points, bottom for critical, bottom for armor penetration, top for lifesteal, and all the way to the top for increased lifesteal chance, which is 3%. And then when you get your other two, which I have not gotten yet because I've been slacking, pick up the 10% incoming healing bonus on Dragon's Revival, and use your third on Dragon's Grip. 10% increased control strength. Do not take Dragon's Fury for increased critical severity. That's my opinion. You do what you want, though. We get to PvP campaign. Take the middle for increased defense and deflect while in PvP. Just a little bit of buffer to your defense and deflection. All the way to the bottom for increased power when you take damage, max 2000, which is Vanguard's Resolve. And then take the second from the top, tactical deployment for the last one, 25% additional movement when no one is near you in PvP. Commit those changes. Now, we move on to powers. In PvP, my recommendation, and this is not what you need to do, my recommendation is that you use Hadar's Grasp for the control. It's similar to Entangling Force on the Control Wizard. Harrow Storm for the prone, and then Warlock's Bargain for when the person gets up and decides to unload their skills on you. Warlock's Bargain can also be substituted out for Killing Flames. Not recommended because Killing Flames does not deal as much damage as it did last module. Or Soul Scorch. Soul Scorch is a very good alternative, and I will show you two scenarios. So if you see someone in PvP, use your Warlock's Curse. Hadar's Grasp, they're strangled, put a Harrow Storm on them, then curse them again. They're proned. Use Warlock's Bargain, they get up, start attacking you a little bit. You know what, sprint a little bit, let your Warlock's Bargain hurt them a little. Curse them again, hit them with either your Essence Defiler, which is your at-will, or Hand of Blight. Both of them deal a fair amount of necrotic damage in PvP. Make sure the person is cursed when you're attacking them, because if you attack someone that is not cursed, like this, you just deal your damage. If you attack someone that is cursed, hit them once, you deal their damage plus damage over time. And it's beautiful, because if you keep attacking, that damage over time will keep stacking on the target as long as they are cursed with Warlock's Curse, as you can see. Also, for your slottable features, I recommend using Shadow Walk, which gives you 40% increased run bonus, or sprint bonus, and Borrowed Time. Borrowed Time is very good, because you get basically 2.4% of, or 0.24% of your max health every 2 seconds when you have Soul Sparks. So when I have 30 Soul Sparks, I get somewhere between 9.6 and 10.2% health of my max health every 2 seconds. And this is health before the bonuses you get from your weapons. So I get about 5,000 to 6,000 health every 2 seconds just from having max Soul Sparks. Like I said in PvP, you can use Soul Scorch instead of Warlock's Bargain, and this is why. If you're fighting someone with another person and you're gathering up your Soul Sparks, and you end up killing the person, you can move on to the next person. Curse them, use Hadar's Grasp, use Harrow Storm, prone them when they're on the ground, hit them with the Soul Scorch. That Soul Scorch did 21k and it's going to do damage over time. It doesn't do that much in PvP, but one thing that's nice about Soul Scorch is if you hit a cursed target with Soul Scorch, it does that damage over time, plus it will do your creeping death damage over time. So it's almost doing triple damage. It was doing triple damage last module, but now since it's reduced to 60%, it's near triple damage. Okay, it's not. It's about 250% damage, not 300. Anyways, so like I said, you run up to a next person, Hadar's Grasp, use Horror Storm, prone them, hit them with a couple Soul Scorches. As you can see, the damage is pretty nice. I just hit a 40,000, and then you got the damage over time. As you can see, that person's bleeding. One of the dailies I recommend using in PvP is Brood of Hadar. Brood of Hadar does a fair amount of damage, and it basically roots and dazes the person when it gets to them. So you cast it, and they're stuck there. Then you can use your Hadar's Grasp to choke them. Then you can knock them on their butt with Horror Storm, hit them with your At-Will. They're going to take a lot of damage there. So those are the dailies, At-Wills, and class features that I recommend in PvP. In PvE, I recommend that you use, instead of Hand of Blight, use Dark Spiral Aura, because you will not be using Hand of Blight in PvE. At least you won't be in the future. Right now, some people are using it because Hand of Blight is doing... it has some interesting mechanics in PvE. In PvE, this module, I recommend using Warlock's Bargain, Soul Scorch, and Dread Theft. I also still use Shadow Walk and Borrowed Time as my class features. The only daily I will use in PvE is Tyrannical Curse. So in PvE, as I'm getting my daily up, I'm hitting the target, and without your daily, you can basically, what you are is you're a boss nuke. What you do is you hit them with your Warlock's Bargain, curse the target, and then hit them with Dread Theft. You can sprint out of your Dread Theft, hit them with a Soul Scorch. Remember, your Soul Scorch is going to consume your Warlock's Curse, so you have to recurse them every time. You're basically a boss nuker in Module 6. And I realize some people think that Hellbringer is better for that, but I do believe that Soulbinder is still better overall. So when you summon Tyrannical Curse, you can hit them with Warlock's Bargain, curse the targets, and like such, and you use your Dread Theft, and you can see it's doing damage that I can't even add in my head. And you use Soul Scorch on anything that's cursed, and you can see the damage is also still crazy. When you kill targets, you will get your Dark Spirals, and every now and then you can shoot your Dark Spirals at the targets for bonus damage and a little bit more action point gain. Some people will recommend that on the feature tree you put Energizing Curse for 30% more action points on cursed targets with At-Wills. I don't think that actually is better than just using Dust to Dust flat out, and I wouldn't recommend stacking Energizing Curse because it's just a loss of damage overall. In PvE, your goal is to basically just kite the targets and try not to take damage. If you have a Paladin or a DC, they are your best friend, and try and stay near them. This module, it is not easy to tank damage in PvE, sadly. I do not recommend using a Terror enchantment like you see right now in PvE. However, go for a Vorpal enchantment, a Pure or Transcendent Lightning, or possibly even a Fey Touched. You can use a Terror if you're trying to boost overall party DPS, but if you want your DPS to be fairly high, use a Pure Transcendent Lightning or a Vorpal of any kind. Also for your armor, basically in PvE, it's Soulforged. In PvP, use a Negation. That's all I can say. The Negation gives you increased damage resistance for every hit you take, stacking up to 10 times, and the Soulforge gives you another life in PvE. And that's for the Warlock. Some classes, Soulforge is better in PvP. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, for PvE and PvP, that will wrap up my advice guide for this module. I will be doing another guide on how to stack damage with the Creeping Death Fury Warlock and the companion setup I recommend in PvE. Thank you all very much. Please leave comments or questions below. And if you like what you saw, you can subscribe.